Hello everyone, welcome to this week's recorded lecture for business processes. This week we're talking about process as a source of competitive advantage. There's two main objectives for this recorded lecture today, and the first one is to understand the role of business processes in generating competitive advantage, and the second one is to understand the role of innovation in sustaining competitive advantage through business processes. So the lecture takes a twofold path, if you like, through the different areas. The first one is to get a core understanding of what we mean by competitive advantage and how that actually works. And it's important to realize that, as we discussed in the previous lecture, that core goals, or in the strategic alignment lecture, have to have processes that support them. So there's no way you can simply start something and expect it to work without having a process to support it. So that's the first most important point to remember, one you might want to take with you into the exam, that the business processes need to be supported, both of all by a solid strategy, and second of all, by robust, well thought out, quality driven processes. The second one there about innovation is that we're going to talk about that towards the end of the section. And that first section, second section rather, we'll talk about the S-curve and how innovation has to be built into business processes to sustain competitive advantage. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do before we break to the second part of the lecture is talk about Michael Porter. Michael Porter said the elements that make for a successful company are competitive advantage. So, and a sustained, he later went on to say in 2000, 2001, 2002, etc., that competitive advantage is sustained through business processes over a period of time. So it's sustainability and innovation go hand in hand there. So we have a sustainable process that lasts, continues to adapt and change to its environment and suits its environment, and we have an innovative process as well that looks for new solutions to keep the company afloat. The average cycle for a business idea is said to be somewhere between 3 to 5 years. So for 3 years you can expect to milk it for all it's worth, and then it will begin to phase out and people will lose interest within the 4th and 5th years, if it even takes off at all. And remember, 50% of all business ventures fail. Okay, the point of differentiation that makes them better. That is what competitive advantage really is. Competitive advantage is by definition, is the advantage one company has over another that makes them able to compete and be more successful than another. In the Coke versus Pepsi wars, in what they called the Cola Wars in the 1980s, Coke eventually won or beat Pepsi for sales on the strength of its brand. Its brand became the point of differentiation. It lasted longer. Whether or not it was a better quality product was up for debate, but the brand was something that made all the difference. It was marketing. If you look at the current crisis we have in Australian air travel, you've got all these new players and prices are starting to go down towards the floor. It's competition that's driving those prices down. The more people that are in the market, so the theory goes, the more competitive it becomes. Now, if you're in a market that's fairly crowded and there's lots of people involved in that market, then you need to have some kind of solid process to be able to compete with people. And that's where we come in with this lecture. That process has to be something different. And that's what we mean by the point of differentiation. It has to be something different and unique that gives you a source of competitive advantage. So in other words, if you are running a business or you're part of a business, there has to be a core process in there that you have that makes you more competitive and makes you different enough that you can outsell your competitor. So you have something different, you have a unique selling proposition or something that can be sold and people understand that it's different and all those kinds of things. The combination of these things also add up to create a different market position, which is what my third point is about there. This next video covers these principles of competitive advantage. So this ends the first section of the recorded lecture. All of these will be in small sections so that you can watch them in YouTube at your own leisure. Okay, so the first one refers to competitive advantage and the firm. So you have to just stop the video now, go and watch that, and take careful note of what the presenter says. Now, the thing you need to pay attention to is the definitions of competitive advantage and what it means to be different. That's the heart of competitive advantage. If you're different, then you can compete on a different level, or if you've got something that differentiates you from your competition, you'll stand out. It's very similar in a way to applying for jobs and going for job interviews. If you don't have something different, then you won't stand out and you don't have a competitive advantage. In a race, when people are running, the fastest runner has a competitive advantage. He can run faster, he or she can run faster. A team that has a stronger side will always win in sports. They have a competitive advantage. They can compete better than other people. And that's what it's all about. Now, we do that in business through our processes. We align our processes with our goals and we create a competitive advantage and we realize it through those processes and we make it work. Okay, just go and watch that video and I'll see you shortly.